Thank you, Sunil ji, for such an awesome session. Thank you, Madan Bhai. Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Radhe Radhe, Nitin ji, over to you.
Radhe Radhe Pallavi ji. And thank you, Madan ji and Sunil Bhai, for a wonderful session, like always. So welcome, everybody. A very warm good morning, good evening to each one of you. Today, we'll have a concluding session of the topic of, God, the different manifestations of God, starting with Brahman, then Paramatma. We were talking about personal form of God. Yesterday, we spoke about why does God take avatar? And today, we'll conclude our discussion by discussing about how do we look at different forms or the different avatars of God? Are they really different, or is there a common denominator amongst them? And what should be our mindset when we approach God or gods with devotion? So we'll talk about all these questions, and we will try to clarify some of the misconceptions related to this topic, just so that we can proceed with bhakti, proceed in bhakti with conviction and clarity, as opposed to doubts and some kind of stereotypes associated with the concepts that we are going to talk about. So again, a very warm welcome. Let's get started. Blessings of God and Guru with our opening prayers. I'm going to share sound. Hopefully the sound thing is taken care of. So let's do our opening prayers. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. All right. So Radhe Radhe, a very warm welcome once again. So let's get started. Today we are going to discuss the same shloka that we did yesterday, but in more detail. The one not pertaining to why God takes avatar, but the different avatars of God itself. Okay. So the shloka, I think it's something all of us would already be conversant with. It's very popular, one of the most popular shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. It reminds us of Mahabharata that we have seen in television. Now recite it. You are welcome to follow along. Yada yada hi dharmasya Glanirбhavati Bharata Abhyutthanam Tadatmanam Srijamyaham. All right, let's take a few hands and then we'll get started.
Radhe Radhe, Samji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Yada
yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham.
Wonderful. Radhe Radhe.
Payalji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Radhe Radhe.
Nice, thank you.
Sandhya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham.
Very nice, thank you, Sandhya.
Shyamji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, thank you.
Rahulji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारतः अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, very nice. Thank you, Rahul.
Are we taking all hands for this shloka,
Maybe
Nitinji?
two or three more hands, 2 or 3 more hands, 3 more hands with the video on, and then we'll get started because we have some content to cover as well. So,
Yeah. Aparna ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam shrajamyaham.
very
Thank
nice.
you.
Thank you. 2 more hands we'll take and then we'll proceed. Palviji.
Yeah, Sunita ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyusthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham. Radhe Radhe.
Right, let's take 1 more hand and then we will get started.
Yeah, Tarun ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Hare Tarunji.
राधे राधे यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्. राधे राधे.
Thank you. So we can't take all the hands, so let's get started. Sorry about that. We'll probably give you preference in the next one. We have some content to cover, so just give me a sec. Just trying to put down something. So yes, give me a sec. I think some problem I'm facing, which I should resolve. If anybody wants to recite quickly.
Yeah, meanwhile, we can give chance to recite.
I'm not able to see the screen.
Ode ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
This thing, shloka, I'm not able to see.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So, all right, give me a sec. I think we should be.
Does anybody remember? Does anybody remember? Yeah. Srijamyaham paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha duskritam.
That is the next one. All right, never mind. I'll share the screen.
Okay, Sam ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Which one you want?
All right.
Yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaham.
Wonderful. Radhe Radhe. Okay, so let's get started. Now we are good to start. All technical switches have been. So let's get started. Just wanted to, yesterday we couldn't do that. So let me play that. Hope we are able to see here. Audio screen?
Yes.
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge.
All right. Hope it made you feel nostalgic. It certainly does. We used to look forward to this every Sunday. And this shloka, it's like the trademark of this serial, right? Ramayana and Mahabharata. So I thought it's an opportunity to play this because we are discussing these 2 shlokas. Yesterday we spoke about why does God take avatar, and today we'll talk about his forms. So let's talk about what are we going to discuss today. So Please keep your questions ready, questions that often confuse you around these concepts, different avatars of God. And we are going to talk about, is there any difference between the different avatars of God? And also, what are the avatars of God? That is what we are going to talk about today. So let's get started. Anna, so what did we do yesterday? We spoke about God's avatar, not avatar, but why does God manifest, right? So biggest dharma we spoke that of the soul is to engage in devotion to God. This is the biggest dharma. So if you ask about agenda of life, the agenda of life is to develop love for God. And the ultimate goal of life, right, is to serve God. There's nothing beyond that. So to develop love for God and to serve God, because Jiver Swarup Hoye Nitya Krishna Das, it is said, right? So ultimately we have to serve God. There's nothing beyond that. And it will happen when do we serve somebody? When we love somebody. That's when we are able to love them selflessly. It happens with our kids. It happens with people whom we genuinely feel for. So seva or service is a natural consequence of developing love for God. That's what it means. So that is the biggest dharma. And then we said that God strengthens our, he takes on an avatar, not just to kill demons, that's part of the Leela, but then he reveals his divine forms, name, virtues, pastime, abodes, and associates. That's the key thing. And this provides a soul a basis for devotion. If God had not done that, we would not know how does God look, how does he interact, what is his nature, what does he like, what does not like, how do we build that personal connect with God, and how can we enslave God. All these things are revealed only through his avatar Kal. There's absolutely no other way. And on the other hand, devotion to the personal form of God is easy as well, because our mind is naturally attracted towards forms and shapes. When we think about somebody, right, when we think about our parents who are in India, we don't think about their name. We think about their form, their image that comes to mind. So form is something which is natural to our mind. And in this case, that, God has made it easy for us by taking on a form during his avatar Kal. And God has a personal form as well, chosen form, right, like we do. Simple to perform and sweet to engage in as well, bhakti. That is how it goes. So let's talk about a story. Okay, here is a guy who's drowning. Okay, so this guy was drowning and he had a lot of gods on his altar, right? We have a lot of gods on our altar. One on this, one Laddu Gopal, one Ganesh, one Devi Ma. We do risk mitigation. If one doesn't listen, other would. And if one is having a bad day, other might be in full form. So we hedge our risk. So this guy at the time of drowning remembers, I used to do a lot of somvars. Lord Shiva, I used to put water on him. So he calls on Lord Shiva, save me, please. So Lord Shiva is gracious enough. Okay. So Lord Shiva starts moving from Kailash to come and save him. But before he could make it, he said, oh my God, God is not coming. Maybe Lord Shiva is having an off day or he's not there, and who knows, let me call Lord Ganesha. So Lord Shiva had to depart because now he starts calling Lord Ganesha. But Lord Ganesha, he's also on his way. He said, no, maybe not. Lord Ganesha also doesn't have power. And then he starts calling Devi Ma. Okay. And then finally, by the time anybody could reach, he is already drowned. Okay, Devi Ma also lost interest. So, of course, the father comes and he said, you know what? Had he been calling only one God, Jesus, right, he would have been saved. He kept on, it's a polytheism. That is one of the critiques of polytheism, multiple gods and stuff like that. So he says, if it was Jesus, he would have been saved. So this is an argument he presents, okay, to this guy. So it would have been very easy, right? So this guy said, yeah, that makes sense. But he said, now let's imagine, let's turn the table here. Let's say there is one guy who's drowning in Hudson River. Okay, the other one is drowning in Amazon River, and the third one is drowning in Ganges. And what will you do, right? So we have a good odds. One of them can come and save, each one of them, basically. That is the beauty of polytheism. So the point here is, are they different? Now the question is, should we believe in multiple gods? Are God really multiple? There are multiple gods and they have different powers. And can we have multiple Ishtadevs? Or is it okay to have multiple Ishtadevs? And are they avatars of God or are they different gods? All these questions come into mind, right? So let's try to look at it in perspective today. So now let's look at this conceptually. We see multiple moons, right? Do you see so many moons or reflections of moons? So are there multiple moons? No, we know that, right? We all have study the law of reflection. So it's one moon, the different reflections. They are not really different moons, right? Even though you see multiple moons in the picture, there is only one moon. And similar to that, there is the reflections of the same moon, there is only one God. And rest all are the reflections of the same God. You put 1,000 vessels, you'll see 1,000 reflections. That doesn't mean God has become, 1,000 in different forms, right? Like in Bhagavad Gita, you have different shloks for different folks. Similarly, you have different gods for different folks, because depending upon what their mind, that propensity, sanskars, or what it gets naturally attracted towards. So different shloks for different folks and different gods. God has taken on different forms to appeal our palate. Okay, you want to worship me this way, you want to worship me this way, be my guest, feel free. So they are innumerable energies of God. Hari Anant, Hari Kathanant, Hari Avatar Anant. We can't limit God. God is infinite, his avatars are infinite. For simplification, we have said 24 avatars, but actually there are infinite avatars of God. And God has innumerable leelas, right? The ones for our references through Mahabharata and Ramayana and Bhagavatam. But in different universes, God may be having different leelas, different references, different scriptural itihas Puran for them. So that is how it goes. Let's move on. Let's look at the different categorizations of the God's avatars now. Okay, so Swamiji has beautifully categorized, provided this commentary. So these avatars are classified into 4 categories. God has said that whenever there is an unrighteousness that prevails, we spoke about why God descends, right? Of course, there is a reason around when he says there is a decline in righteousness and all that stuff. But we also looked at the deeper secret behind the God's avatars. Now the question is, what are these God avatars? Which all categories do they belong to? And that is what we are going to talk about today. So the first category is Avesha avatar. Avesha avatar is like Narad. So God manifests his special powers in an individual soul. Okay, it is called an Avesha avatar, like Naradji. Buddha is also an example of Avesha avatar, where God is manifesting his special qualities through an individual soul. The second one is called Vaibhav avatar. When God descends in his divine form, he manifests more of his divine powers, like Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar, Vara avatar, etc. They are all Vaibhav avatar. He's manifesting more of his divine powers in those avatars. The third one is called Prabhava avatar. These are dissensions of God in the personal form, where he displays some of his divine powers. And within these categories also, there are 2 avatars, where God comes, reveals only for a few moments, like Express avatar, right? Like a Shatabdi Express, boom, it goes. So God comes and goes, fulfills the purpose of the avatar, and then no longer stays back in Mrityulok. He then departs. Like some of the examples of these are like Kumar, and then even the Narsingh avatar that happened to save Prahlad, or Ambar avatar that happened to save Draupadi. It comes and it goes. And the second one is where avatar remains on the earth for many years. Vedvyas, and he's an example of such an avatar. He continues on earth for many years, and Vedvyas is still alive. He's Chiranjeevi, like Hanumanji. He will not meet you or I. Maybe he would one day if we go to Bhadraka Ashram and really have a deep desire to meet him, but he's alive. Shankaracharya ji did Shastrarth with him. He went and met him, and he did meet him. So Vedvyas, who has compiled all of the scriptures, including penning down Bhagavad Gita, is very much alive, and he's also an avatar of God. And the last category, last but not the least category of avatar is Pravashtha avatar, which is God manifests all of his divine powers on in his personal form that we have been talking about, like Lord Krishna, Sri Ram, Narsingh avatar. They are all Pravashtha avatar. Okay, where God does his leelas and gives us a basis for devotion. So these are the main 4 categories of God's avatars. Having said that, they are just broad categorization. Like I said, Hari Anant, Harikana, Kathanant. We try to put it in some kind of a framework which is available for our reference, but God has many more energies and many more avatars. We will get to know when we become God realized, but these are some of the categories of that. Now moving on. So we spoke about the Param Purush. These are the 3 manifestations of Param Purush: Brahma, Trinity, which is Sattva, Gun, and these are divine gunas. They are not material gunas, by the way. Okay, so don't think that this Sattva is the material gun or this Tamas is the negative gun. Okay, they are divine gunas, not the material gunas. So Rajas is Sattva is Brahma, Rajas is Vishnu, and then Tamas is Mahesh. Okay, which is take care of creation, maintenance, and the annihilation part of it. Brahma is interesting because Brahmaji, God sometimes take on the form of a Brahma himself when he does not find a suitable soul. Typically, Brahma is a Jivatma like us. You and I can become Brahma as well. Of course, it will take some doing to get to that level. Even Indra is after the post of Brahma, because beyond Brahma, there is nobody else in this material world. He is the supreme architect and the president of this material creation, right? He gets all the knowledge from God and then goes about creating the entire universe. Then he goes to sleep and he takes back all the universe. Then he wakes up and again creates everything. So of course, he's the most intellectual person possible, right, in this material realm. A Jivatma can become that, and for the amazing work that Brahmaji does, he's basically ends up getting God realized. God gives him his own abode after his tremendous service that he does. But sometimes he does not find a suitable soul. Then in those cases, God himself takes on form of Brahma. And that is basically Sattva Guna. Basically, these are the 3 categories. These are the divine guns, not the material gunas that we are talking about, Vishnu and Mahesh. But the key thing is they are the extensions or avatars of the same God. They are not different. Although it's Trinity, God we know, right? Generator, operator, and destructor. Some people say God means gives on demand. No, it's not gives on demand. It is generator, operator, and destructor. Okay. So these are the 3 Trinity that we talk about. They are the expansions of the same God. Okay. Through three divine gunas that we have. Now, having said that, see, Lord Shiva, a lot of people, they worship Lord Shiva as well, right? We say that if they are form of the same Ishtadev, it is the same God. You can pick up anyone, right? If you are worshipping Lord Shiva, Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, or even Durga Mata, or any other form of Shakti, Kali Mata and all, they are essentially the same. They are same, and yet there is a difference. There's a difference because the bhavs that will manifest, you will be able to manifest for a particular form, would have to follow a certain protocol based on the attributes or the gunas exhibited by that form. For example, do you imagine yourself putting your hand around Lord Ram, who's a Maryada Purushottam avatar, or for that matter, jumping in the lap of Lord Shiva, right? Or feeding him with your hands? It's a little difficult to you can do that if you're brave enough, but it's difficult to do that. In fact, with Lord Shiva, although he's himself, there's no difference between Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, right? But then in Shiva form, in Rudra form, if you look at him, if you truly get to see him and his Rudra Gan, it will freak the wits out of you. Okay, Rudra Gan with one eye, and all the ghosts and spirits. When the Bharat came, what happened when the Bharat was going? So Lord Shiva went to marry Parvati. My mother fainted, No, first of all, they thought the smart guy who's coming right in front, he must be the Dula. He was Narayan, by the way, Vishnu. But then somebody said, no, the actual bridegroom is coming behind. And, when they saw the scorpions hanging by his ears and all that mundamal and all that stuff, they freaked out. I think his mother, Daksh, and his wife, mother almost fainted. He said, no way, I'm going to marry my daughter to, this person with bhasma all over his body and all. But that is God, and Parvati would see the divinity in him, right? So that is his form. God chooses that form, okay, for a reason. He's also called the Nilkant. During Samudra Manthan, he saved the creation by holding the poison in his throat. Nobody was willing to have that halahal. So that is also a form of God only, right? It's only his own expansion only, like we spoke about Vishnu and other avatars. They're all God avatar, but yet they are different. Like that father is a father. Sometimes he becomes Ghoda with the kid at home. That is his loving form. And when the father is in office, he's a strict judge who's pronouncing judgments and death sentences against all the criminals. Then he's in official form. So which form would you associate to it? The choice is yours. Right? Typically, people find it more easy to get attached to the sweeter form of God, which is in form of Lord Krishna and Lord Ram, where his official form is hidden and his friendly form is more manifest in there, right? The madhuris that he exhibits in those forms. So that is the whole idea. Now let's look at one of the beautiful Shiv Leela. Swamiji narrates and
Nand Baba came running, and Nand Baba reached the Prasutika Griha, where the pregnant lady is kept. That's the Prasutika Griha. And he said, Ari Yashoda, give me darshan of your Lala. Yashoda said, what will you give?
So just to put it in perspective, see these leelas, divine leelas of God, right? When we have a bhed buddhi, that one is higher, other is lower, that is something that needs to be corrected, okay? They will all consider each other as their Ishtadev in the divine leelas, and we are free to choose any Ishtadev. Having said that, there's definitely some advantages of choosing Krishna as your Ishtadev because of the Madhurya and other things that he brings into the mix. But this leela would help you see, how Shiv and Krishna, or for that matter, I'll talk about Shiv and Ram also interact, okay, in their divine pastimes, so that the bhed buddhi or the differentiation that we carry in our head, we can put it into perspective and set that aside. So let's hear that, continue to hear this beautiful leela.
In return for the darshan, for the mukh dikhai, you see the mukh dikhai, you see the face, that is mukh dikhai. What will you offer in return? Nand Baba said, depends upon his mukh. So Yashoda said, take a look. And Nand Baba saw, he said, ooh, I offer my tan, man, pran, everything on this little child. Now the news spread. All the Brajbasis gathered. They started celebrating. They all started coming for darshan. Day followed day and the celebration would not end. Everybody would come to the house of Nand Baba. Nand Baba would offer grains, clothes, wealth, cows. He would make all the yachaks into ayachaks, fulfill the desires of everybody who would come. He was so delighted, and the Brajbasis' joy knew no bounds. They are delighted that our chieftain has got a child at this age, and such a wonderful child. Now, they were celebrating. This is not astonishing. The astonishing thing is that Lord Shiv, who was sitting in Samadhi in Kailash, he also came for darshan. And at the time of the Ram avatar, he had changed his dress. But during the Krishna avatar, he came in his original form. He had the Mund Mahal and the snake round his neck, and the scorpions hanging from here. In that original Shringar, Lord Shiv reached. He knocked on the door of Nand and Yashoda, and Yashoda opened the door to find this Babaji there, with scorpions hanging from the ears and a snake around the neck. Yashoda said, "Hari Babaji, what do you want? Who are you?" Lord Shiv said, "Maya, this child of yours who has been born, who is inside, I am his son. The son of his son." Yashoda said, "What are you talking about? He is 2 days old. If you are the son of his son's son, that means in every 6 hours he is having children." Lord Shiv said, "Maya, you don't see him as a 2-day-old. He is eternal. He has descended in this world as the avatar." So Yashoda said, "Babaji, he was born from my stomach, and you say he has taken avatar?" Because Yashoda has personal experience. She had the baby in the womb, and when she woke up, the womb is empty, the baby is here. So she sees him as her child. How can she believe that he is the avatar? So Yashoda said, "Babaji, my hair has not become white in the sun." She is showing the seniority of her age. So don't try and teach me. Now when she showed the seniority of her age, Lord Shiv said, "Maya, do you know how old I am?" Yashoda said, "How old are you?" He said, "Ever since this world has existed, I have also existed." Yashoda said that just now you said you are the son of his son, and now you are saying you are Adi Jag. What do you want? Ask, I will give it. I am very happy, I am giving everybody things. What is it that you want? Shankarji said, "Maya, I don't want material things, because Kuber is my servant. Riddhi and Siddhi are my maid servants. I only want darshan of your Lala." Yashoda said, "Babaji, this can never be." Why? Your form is such. You have got a snake, you have got bichu. If my Lala sees, he will become terrified. Shivji said, "Maya, he will become terrified looking at me. He is Kalatma Bhagavan. Bhayadasyagnisthapati bhayatapati surya bhayatindrascha mrityu dhavati panchavah." Even death trembles in front of him. What are you saying? He'll be scared of me. Now Yashoda said, "There's no point speaking to this Baba." So Yashoda said, "Babaji, it seems like you have got some hysteria or something. Go and get yourself treated. And I am not going to give darshan of my Lala." Although Shankar is Jagadish, he is God. Krishna is God, he is God, they are doing Leela amongst themselves. But right now God has taken avatar as the son of Yashoda. So Yashoda's seat is higher, she is the mother of Bhagavan. He is mine, what will you do? Lord Shiv had to return. But he did not go to Kailash. He went on the banks of the Yamuna and started crying. Same strategy. And he is crying so much, Sri Krishna is crying there. So one Sakhi, now Yashoda tried to quiet, chup, 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 chup. She used all the chattu, ghungana and everything mothers used to quieten the child. Finally one Sakhi said, "Did you understand something?" What? That Baba who had come, he has cast an evil spell. You disrespected him, you should not have done that. So Yashoda also agreed, yes, yes, yes. After his going, he has started crying. Yashoda said, find out where he has gone. The Sakhis went here, they went there, and finally they discovered that he is sitting on the banks of the Yamuna. Yashoda went herself, Babaji, I made a big mistake. You please come to my house. If your feet fall in my house, by their dust my house will get purified. Shankarji said, Bacha, I have decided I will not go to the house of any grihasti. So Yashoda said, Arey, nahi Babaji, it's not about you, it's about me. It's about my child, my house. Please, I beg you, I request you. The Lord Shiv now came with great pride. And moment he saw Sri Krishna saw Shiv. Sri Krishna's crying all finished. This Leela took place when Krishna was 2 days old. That Anant Koti Brahmand Nayak is doing a Leela. Why does he do this drama? You can never count the number of reasons for his avatar.
All right, so hope you enjoyed this beautiful Leela. Something similar had happened when Ram avatar had taken place as well. Okay, Lord Shiva had come and he was turned down by Kaushalya mother. So God, he does Leela, and they are both in mutual admiration club. Okay, so nobody is higher or lower. It's us who create that in our mind, right? Looking at different Leelas and interpreting the way we do, but they are all the same form of the same God, and God does all these pastimes, divine Leelas, amongst itself only. Okay, it's pretty interesting how we can't do that. I mean, what kind of entertainment are they getting when they're doing? But that's how God does Leelas. Okay. Now, there's another Leela as well. We'll talk about, like, now people, one of the things they say is Ram Bhagwan, when he was going to fight Ravan, he worshipped Lord Shiva on Rameshwaram. And then Shivites basically say that, because he worshipped Lord Shiva, now Lord Shiva is higher than. That's not the right way of understanding it, okay? They do that in this Leela. He considers Lord Shiva, and he's setting an example. When you're embarking on something, he was going to fight a war, good over evil, that happened eventually, then it's good to invoke blessings of Lord Shiva. And then, and when they do the same basically, and Lord Shiva, he considers Lord Ram as his Ishtadev, Lord Ram considers Lord Shiva as his Ishtadev, Krishna considers Shiva as his Ishtadev, Shiva considers Krishna as his Ishtadev, and this just continues on in every Leela, because essentially it's the same entity, same Tattva playing divine Leelas. Okay. Same Shiva, basically Lord Shiva, when Lord Krishna, he did the Maharas, when he came to know, he also came to participate in Maharas, and Parvati was already there. He said gents are not allowed, right? No stags allowed, right? In discourse that they don't allow, he said no stags allowed here, only females. And Lord Shiva was like, he really wanted to go there, and he said, okay, I'm going to take on a form. I just absolutely need to attend this Maharas. And then he took on a form of a Gopeshwar Maharaj, if you look at it. Now, I think there are temples in India about Gopeshwar, and I think he became a Shivangi Gopi to participate in Maharas. So that is another Leela that took place between two. And it is said basically the Murli, the flute, Krishna says that my Ishtadev, I want to press his feet all the time, and I want to give him place, and Shiv says, I want to stay close to you. So the Murli is actually, flute is actually Rudra avatar only, where he's getting to press his feet all the times and he's staying close to his lips. That is the appreciation they do in divine Leelas for each other. So nobody's higher or lower. They are essentially the form of the same Tattva. It's God's own avatars and expansions that does these divine Leelas. And when people dissect it with their mundane intellect, they start creating hierarchies and differences in their mind. There's absolutely no difference between any one of these. Okay, so that is how it goes. Now you can pick up your Ishtadev based on which form you naturally associate to. The Krishna avatar is special because he exhibited 4 Madhuris. It's easy to take your mind to Krishna because he's attractive. His form is very super attractive. Then he has done so many wonderful Leelas, right? And then he has Murli Madhuri. And if Krishna, when he fills in his Murli with his, pours his soul into it and plays that flute, It can steal heart of anybody. That is how powerful it is, provided he decides to do that. So Roop Madhuri, Bal Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, and Prem Madhuri. And then of course, divine love is exhibited only in Krishna avatar, and that is why it is one of those avatars which people associate to very naturally. Okay. And you can practice Madhurya Bhav in this avatar. In others, it becomes a little difficult. So this is why some of those things. And then talking about these avatars, the key thing to note here is Hari Anant, Hari Katha Anant. Okay. So classification does not imply that any avatar is bigger than the other. First of all, let's root it out, stamp it out from our head. That Bhed Buddhi, that one avatar is better, the other is lower, one is higher. Nothing of that sort. In fact, that is a spiritual transgression when we do. Absolutely nothing. They are all same. Right? Swamiji humorously gives that example that if Amitabh Bachchan, he becomes a coolie in one movie, smuggler in one, and inspector in another, Jaya Bachchan does not get confused. That, the guy I married and the one I see around is completely different. She understands it's just a role that they are playing. So a devotee will understand they are the different forms of my same Ishtadev. Not that one is different, other is different. And Swamiji also says, Ek sadhe, sab sadhe na koi. So if you try to do devotion to 10 different gods, you will not be able to develop. First of all, that is not ananyata. Secondly, you'll not be able to gain the depth that is needed to extract water. It's like digging so many wells without really reaching the depths. But if you do it with one Ishtadev of your choice, then the devotion for other will automatically happen. When you'll go in front of any other god, you will know it's my father in a different mood, in a different clothes today. That sentiment could come out. Now, Vedavyas, he himself saying that he's saying all the dissensions of God are replete with all divine powers and they are all perfect and complete. Nobody is less or more. They may choose to manifest certain powers, but that doesn't mean one is less, other is more. Hence, we should not differentiate one avatar as bigger, another as smaller. Each dissension, God manifests his powers based on the objectives. Right? God is very optimized. He's not going to reveal all his power all the times for everyone. Super optimized. He may choose to hide some and reveal some and all that. He only knows that. So remaining powers, they remain latent, right? Latent means hidden. Hidden means it has the potential, but he may not choose to manifest it, right? So that is how it goes. Like you see an entire banyan tree can come out of a seed. That means that potential and that power is manifest, basically latent in that seed. That is how God does as well with his avatars. And which brings us to the question that what are the advantages of disadvantage of differentiating between different avatars of God? That is one part. And then what is the advantage of worshipping or picking up one Ishtadev as opposed to many Ishtadevs? Okay. So first thing I would basically, Swamiji recommends is simplify your altar. Okay. Don't think that putting 15 different gods and feeding them a little bit here and there is going to give us any bonus or benefit in spirituality. No, actually it doesn't. You see some altar when you start giving them bath together, somebody's head gets a bath, somebody's nose and all that stuff. Not getting, even if you have the best of intentions, that bhakti is not ananya. And it's probably motivated by fear or motivated by some kind of a stereotype because this has been done like this by everyone, so I'll follow along. But when you gather scriptural proper understanding around it, simplify it. It's all the same Ishtadev. Pick up one and deepen that devotion. The devotion for others will automatically get nourished. So that is the whole idea. With that, we'll take a pause and take on any questions that you may have for the topic that we have discussed. And by the way, I just wanted to remind you, tomorrow we will not have our usual class because I'll be traveling, but we will resume from Sunday evening, Monday morning. Okay. And I'll let you know if there is a break in any of those days, a day prior. So tomorrow, again, a reminder, we will not have our class tomorrow. So, but I look forward to seeing you again on Sunday, which is Sunday evening, US time, Monday morning, India time, from a different geographical location. The coordinates would change, but the class will remain the same. All right, let's take some questions now.
Yeah, Samji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Nitinji, if we choose different avatars of God, can we apply the same vows that we apply to Krishna? to them also, or is there a restriction? For example, for Ram, he's always Madhurya Bhav is only with Sita, Mother Sita, but we cannot do that like that. Then are there restrictions?
I don't know. There's a restriction. Maryada Purushottam Avatar Ram is there. I don't know. It is not natural. It will not come natural to mind, I would say. Why do we want to make it difficult for ourselves? Right? In Ram Avatar, a lot of
Not
people appreciated Ram in Madhurya Bhav. He kept on giving them Tathastu, Tathastu, right? But he could not do that in that Janm. In fact, Shrupadakha, when he tried to do that, you know what happened to her? So we don't know what mood Lord Ram will come in, because it says Maryada Purushottam. I would play safe and rather go with the form in which he anyway exhibited Madhurya Bhav and gave us freedom, right?
Correct. For
Shrupadakha's story was not something very that will
Yes.
motivate me very much to.
Yes. For women, it will be easy only to go into Madhurya Bhav with God in Purush avatar. But for men, God can take female avatar like Mohini avatar, and even man can. Is that?
I know females have an advantage. I agree. What do I say? Right.
Okay.
So it does not have a gender. All souls are female. There is only one Param Purush. But yeah, when it comes to practicing Madhurya Bhav, definitely females have a huge advantage because of our conditioning. So make the most of it is all I can tell you, right? I can see a lot of happy faces here. Enjoy the advantage.
Sandhya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
But remember, most of the Rasik saints, most of them, have been males. Okay, so that is also there.
No difference, Nitin ji. We'll all do that together.
Soul is gender agnostic. There is only one Parampura. Yeah,
So yeah, Radhe Radhe. Yeah, actually, with respect to this topic, first of all, so what are the disadvantages? According to me, the biggest disadvantage is that Namaprad. Like if we consider different forms of God differently, then we end up disrespecting any form of God, and we are disrespecting God because they are not different, right? So I feel that's the biggest disadvantage. And advantage of having one Ishdev is, as you said, like getting into the depth of bhakti, which we cannot otherwise do if we are not having exclusivity and ananyata. And one question I had, you just said in our altar, we should try and have only one form of God. Usually it's like a family altar, right? And within a family, it's possible that people can have different Ishtadev. So more importantly, it would be like in our mental altar, we are practicing exclusivity, right?
Personal altar I'm talking about. Family, yes. There will be competing priorities, of course, right? So yeah, I agree. But as a devotee, we understand that it's all the form of my same Ishtadev only. That usually helps. Yes, Preeti ji, let's give preference to the ones who have their
Yes, Preeti ji, please go ahead.
Yes, Radhe Radhe everyone. Nitinji, I just wanted to say the disadvantages would be, it's like the magnifying glass, you hold it and the rays of the sun, they converge and then they generate heat. And we used to play that game when all of us were kids, right? We used to put a piece of paper and it would burn. So if we have one single God, I think we will be better focused. Like Sandhya ji said, of course, Nam Aparad, but also, it becomes, if I am to do this, it will become easy for me to do the Roop Dhyan also, because I have a khichdi here. There are several tales, several legends, several myths sitting in my head related to different gods, and my journey into spirituality is very recent. So, for me, it would be like, standing at a crossroad, not knowing where to go. Instead, as you just said, you quoted Swamiji, that simplify your altar. I would say I would like to do that mentally or whichever way that will help me focus.
Yes, very true. It brings in focus, and you gave a very beautiful example of lens, right? To converge, bring in that, so that the intensity that you need is generated. Otherwise, it will be diffused, right? Diffused effort, mental effort as well. Very true. And then I think we really need to question what makes us have so many God's present there? Is it our insecurity? Is it our lack of faith that,
No,
maybe is it our fear? What motivates us to keep so many? Or is it just a tradition that we have been following, right?
Nitinji, that knowledge which just happens to us, we grow up listening to stories, we sitting in our grandmother's lap or reading a fairy tale or a mythological book when we were very young, and they just happen to us. I don't think our parents ever forced us to do one thing or the other, or society or family. I don't think so. But because we have multiple gods, our religion has multiple gods, polytheism, I think these things just happen to us. We don't want them, they happen to us. I don't know how, I'm not able to express, but I hope.
Understood. I think it becomes part of our subconscious and probably part of our DNA, where we don't question, just accept it as a way of life, right?
Yes.
Got it. Yeah. Very, very true. Very, very true. I see some new hands today. Manisha ji.
Manisha ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Manisha ji. Sam ji will start. Radhe Radhe, Manisha ji.
Radhe everyone.
Radhe Radhe.
There is one question. Like if Radha ji is feminine form of Krishna ji, then can't man have Madhurya Bhav for Radha ji?
It's a very valid question. Actually, this question was asked to Swamiji, Maharaj ji rather. Okay, so with Radharani, it can only be practiced as a mother, divine mother. Okay, divine mother and Sahachari Bhav. Sahachari means where you help Radharani meet Krishna. So the Madhurya Bhav, as a male, you can't practice towards Radharani. It has to be a divine mother sentiment. With Krishna, you can do that. But with females can do that Madhurya Bhav. But with Radharani, the divine mother, that's how it goes. And a lot of people, they don't understand it. Their presumption initially is like that, but I'm glad you asked this question. So it is mother, divine mother. You think it that way. In fact, see, this is how it grows. It's a very deep concept. Maybe it will not click right now. It starts with a Dasya Bhav, not necessarily. It can directly go to Madhurya Bhav. Then as the Dasya Bhav fructifies, you understand that the Parikashtha or the epitome of serving God is in Madhurya Bhav, even as a Das. And then the Madhurya Bhav starts fructifying, then Sahachari Bhav starts coming as well. Sahachari means helping Divine Mother meet God. So those are like a lot of sentiments that start mingling together. But yeah, loving Lord Krishna, whether it is Nishkam, Sakam, whatever it is, it will purify you. That is what our scriptures are telling. So God says, Yen Kain Prakaren, but Madhurya Bhav, if you can practice to Krishna, nothing like it. But for males, with Radharani, it has to be Divine Mother, motherly. You have to take it that way. Good question, technical question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manisha ji. Yeah.
In fact, I'm telling you, a lot of male saints, they have perfected Madhurya Bhav. Okay, there are a lot of historical precedents around it. Madhurya Bhav to Krishna. And they have started manifesting female symptoms also, which is like a very different concept, right, to understand. But saints reach that stage. They can perfect that bhav too. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, with females, it's of course a very great advantage, a natural advantage to practice that. Okay. So I would say you should make the most of it.
So Nitinji, there is a question in chat. How to see that the avatar in classification of gods, Guru is higher to God? Smita ji is asking this question.
Guru is higher to God?
I think she's asking, isn't Guru higher to God?
Yeah, see, it's like they say Guru is like yesterday, Dayashini was explaining, right? Guru is higher to God, God is higher to Guru, Guru and God are Christ. So this is all fine. All statements are true actually. From a soul standpoint, from our standpoint, Gurus always have a higher pedestal than God. Why? Because Guru is the one who is actually truly working on us. God will not come, right? Even Kabir Das ji had said that Guru Gobind dono khade kaku lage pao, right? Then he says that Guru Gobind milai. Like first he will do it to Guru, because Guru is the one who actually made him meet Guru, the God, because Guru is the one who will actually work on us. He'll do the cleanup job. And then God's grace will flow in via Guru. So God will pick up. It's like parents do all the hard work on the girl, and the bridegroom comes one day, takes 7 feras and say, all right, up for the picking. Who has done the hard work? Parents have done that. Similarly, Guru does all the hard work. And when we are ready, Krishna, God will simply come and pick us up. So Guru has a higher pedestal, and from a soul standpoint, our purpose, our benefit is served by Guru because he's Sakshat to us. God is not. He's the one who will create opportunities for our Antakaran Shuddhi, right? So God is acting through Guru. So Guru has a higher pedestal in that sense. But all the statements are true. You can say Guru is higher than God, God is higher than Guru, both are equal. Everything is correct. I mean, it becomes semantics beyond a point. But we have to look from a practical standpoint. Guru, of course, has a higher pedestal because he's the one who's working directly with us. He's the one through which we can seek mentorship. And he's the one who will pave the way for God realization for us. That's how it goes.
Thank you, Nitinji.
Yes,
I'll take, there's so many hand raised. So I'll take Monica ji. Thank you for waiting.
We can go to Samji and then Himanshu. Let's take the hands who have their cameras on first.
Yes.
Monica ji.
Radhe Radhe, everybody. Nitin ji, I just wanted to contribute to what Preeti ji was asking, and thank you, Sandhya, for asking that question and then simplifying it. Because growing up, my mother used to, and she still does, worship Ma Durga. My father worships Mahadev, and Mahadev ki to prachand bhakti hamare ghar mein. You know, Laddu follows Mahadev also. And then I'm the only odd one out who actually came into Krishna Bhakti. But then when we talk about bhavs, and thank you, Nitin ji, for that. So when we talk about bhavs, I mean, see, I take it this way that, for example, after getting married, our husband becomes the most important, obviously our son later, but then becomes the most important person, right? But then we still enjoy and, you know, हम उनको बहुत महत्व देते हैं हमारे जो पहले वाले रिलेशनशिप भी थे जैसे फादर के साथ में होता है मदर के साथ में होता है. So when Vijayadashmi comes, I know that Sri Ram is also my Kanha only, but then that Madhurya Bhav does not come, but the other Bhav comes, right? So I'm so much tempted to just show my Kanha to everybody. So I do have Mahadev also here, and then I have Ganesh ji also, but then I know that, you know, whom am I attracted to, right? So that way the clutter is not there in the head. So basically mentally you know who you follow, but at the same time I'm so glad in Sanatan Dharma jaisa bhakt vaisa Bhagwan, right? If I tell my husband to have Madhurya Bhav for Kanha, he might not develop it right away, but he's like attracted to Mahadev. So, you know, usi tarike se. So thank you. And one more thing, Preeti ji, it's not mythology book. Those are all historical books. So, dhanyawad.
Oh, very true. Thank you, Monica ji. Yeah, that's the right way of looking at it. Very true. And God gives us freedom, right? Not everybody is attracted to the same kind of a form. So God gives us all the choice and freedom in that sense. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Monica ji. Yes, Samji, you've been raising your hand, and then we'll get to Himanshu.
Yeah, thank you for waiting, Samji. Please go ahead.
Oh, Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Nitin. You very well explained the whole scenario, and I'm glad. Okay, now at one point when you were explaining the Trinity thing, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, if I heard correctly, you mentioned that Brahmaji, he's the president of the material universe. And during April 21, during the 2.20, you mentioned, then when you were showing all that plenary expansion, that Karna Dakshai is the president of the 1/4 material. So I think maybe I'm mistaken. I think you mentioned.
You are right. He's the president. I should call it. He's the architect. Okay, so it's just semantics.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But Vishnu is the president for sure.
Second thing, like Brahma is the second creator. Where does the Lord Shiva fit into the scenario? I know, I understand, and you will explain also they are all the same. I agree with that one. But in the topography, Lord Shiva has never mentioned it. My consolation for myself is that when the Garbho Dakshai give the incarnation to Brahmaji as a plenary expansion, same way on the right hand side, you can say on the two-dimensional picture, I can imagine myself like Shiva is a kind of there on the right hand side, left hand side, you can say Brahma, doesn't matter. And the Garbhodakshai himself takes the cap of Kshirodakshai at that point. So they are become the Trinity. Brahma, Kshirodakshai, Garbho with the cap of Kshirodakshai, second becomes a Tritiya Purush becomes a kind of Garbho is practically, you can say, vanishes, and the Kshirodakshai takes his form, and the Shiva is there. Just to clarify myself, does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Sure. So Shiva will come into picture during annihilation. So I would say whenever Brahmaji's day is over, maybe that job of rolling it back, the whole creation, annihilation, that is where Shiva comes. But I'll think about and I'll consult with Swamiji to see how I can fit in that, right? Because it is showing it from one perspective. But if you want to see Shiva there, other than the fact,
just to console myself, I just simply put it there, like a Brahma on the picture,
sure.
side Brahma, maybe on the right hand side you can put Shiva. He may not be a secondary creator, but it is a kind of whatever the creation you call it, whatever the Garbhodakshai, different primary.
Sure, I got your point. How do we fit it into that diagram so that
Right.
it makes sense? I will improvise that diagram, but that's a good feedback. I'll look at that so that we can incorporate it and it becomes more clear. Thank you, Samji, for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Himanshu, and then Surendraji. Yeah, Himanshu, you had something.
Himanshu ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Himanshu.
Oh, let me try again. Yes.
Radhe Radhe, everyone.
Mhm.
I just wanted to say 2 points about the earlier questions, like what I think about it. When we try to think in this direction in terms of how that we want to have, for example, for Divine Mother, can we have a different how? So when we try to delve into some questions which are, for example, right now also we were talking about Shivji's inclusion in the whole scenario or in a particular scenario. So I think in these kind of scenarios, we also have to realize that God is doing all this for us. So for example, if someone asks you, when did the soul start taking birth? So that when is also subjective, right? So when we reach that stage, only then we can know if time and space are also like only the concepts for our intellect for here. So like we don't have to be very specific with when it comes to especially bhav, because we are getting because of that only we are able to like serve God, and the same scenario comes when we talk about if Guru is greater or if God is greater. So both of them take like avatar, and they are only doing anything which is directed by Yogmaya, because internally everything is being directed by Yogmaya when it comes to God and Guru. So external their actions might seem material to us because of our own ego and pride, but then I think we should also consider the fact all the time that these things are being done by God for us and for our sake, and we should also try to, like, this is completely my thinking, but we should also try to have this feeling consistently so that we don't get into much of the theory part, because like if we see Aniruddha Shankarshan, like the Chatur view, there are 2 Chatur views. We can go into a lot of theory, like why did the second expansion come after the first? So all these are really good things to like know, but when it comes to bhakti or increasing anything else, I think these points should be there just to like know about it and not like take this into like, because I asked this question to Swamiji and he told me that yeah, you can read about it, you can understand it, but don't get too much into the theory part of everything. Just try to learn the more practical side of everything. So just like these 2 things. Thank you. Sorry for taking it so long.
No, great point, Himanshu. That's very true. I think it's beyond a point. It really doesn't help. See, end of the day, anything that helps us with devotion is something we need to focus on, because we can continue speculating on theories and why this and why that. As long as it is helping remove the impediment on the path of our devotion, great. If it's not, I mean, it's samanya gyan vriddhi, general expansion of our general knowledge. that can continue forever, right? It doesn't really help beyond a point for sure. Even Kabir ji had said, right? पोथी पढ़ पढ़ जग मुआ पंडित भय न सुख कोय, ढाई अक्षर प्रेम के पढ़े सो पंडित होए. So if we can simply develop simplicity and love for God, that is all needed. We don't need to get too much specifics into nuts and bolts of, creation and expansion and all that stuff. Let's understand at a higher level. They are all the expansions of God. God is one. And my ultimate aim is to develop love and faith for God. Any question and anything that helps us do that, go for it. Anything that does not help us grow love for God, reject it fearlessly. Simple. One vidhi, one nishedh in Raganuga Bhakti, like Maharaj Ji had said. Vidhi, anything that takes your mind to God and helps you increase your love for God. Nishedh, don't reject everything that takes your mind away from God and does not help you develop God for fearlessly reject it, no matter what it is. Simple. Just 2 rules, thumb rules in life, nothing else. And then theories, I mean, it's good for our knowledge enhancement, but if it's not helping us develop devotion, what's the point? Getting too much into details. Good point, Himanshu. All right. Quite a few hands. So I think technically we are over with our session. I'm happy to extend it if you want to take questions, few more questions, maybe a minute each before we get into our devotional segment. We can do our devotional segment today because tomorrow we are off. I'll wrap it up with some singing and chanting. I think that will be a good way to take a little bit of a break that we're going to have. So yes, Surendraji, next you've raised your hand, so I'd love to hear from you, and Aparnaji next. Two hands.
Yeah, I think I saw Arunji's hand raised for quite some time as well.
Arun, if you're around, please do raise your hand. Sorry if you missed it.
I see here. Yeah, he is there. So Surendraji, Radhe Radhe, and
Yes,
thank you all for waiting. Please
Yes,
put your questions in feedback tracker also.
Thank you.
Feedback tracker is open today, so please do fill that out as well. Yes, Radhe Radhe.
Nithinji, first of all, I'll welcome you to India. It's your own home. The second point is that Ishwar and Bhagwan. We know that Supreme Soul is Ishwar, and all the others are Bhagyavan. From the word Bhagwan has come out, which means they are the blessed souls in the incarnations. So therefore, a difference between Ishwar and Bhagwan. Ishwar is only one. This is what my understanding, and which may call God in English, but Ish, that is one, and so many Bhagwans are there because they are all blessed souls and they have been guiding the entire humanity. I that much my inputs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Surendraji. Dhanyavad. Okay, by the way, quick announcement with Family Camp. Please register for the Family Camp if you have already not done so. No, that was a good practice, Monica ji. So we still have a little bit of time. So yeah, please do register for the Family Camp if you have already not done so. Online registration. Do take that, partake that nectar of Brajras, that is Mansarovar of Brajras, which is Bhakti Shatak, which is going to be the topic during our family camp. So if you're sitting on the fence, you haven't done it, don't even think about it. Just make it, and you will get to meet us virtually. And if you can meet us personally, nothing like it, nothing can beat it. But the second best is meeting us virtually. So please sign up for it. It is a very nominal price, 500 rupees and $50, nothing, for 1 week long of lectures from Swamiji and things. And then we have a Dallas Yoga Festival from 16th to 18th coming up as well. Check it out on our website, where you can get to listen to some of the esteemed speakers that we are going to get, like we do every year. So these are the 2 announcements from my side. Anything else, Pallavi ji, you wanted to say?
Yeah, there is one more announcement about West Coast Retreat with Swamiji, which is going to start from May 27 to May 29th. That is going to be in Fresno, California. So, and virtual participation is also available for this West Coast retreat as well.
Yeah, Phoenix as well, right? 14th to 16th, I believe. Phoenix, are you not aware of that?
14th, 15th to 18 is Tempe, Arizona.
Tempe is Phoenix, yeah. Tempe, Arizona, we have a 3-day long program. So if you are
3-day, and 19 to 25 is Los Angeles, California. And May 27 to May 29 is Fresno. That is a West Coast retreat. and May 30 to June 2nd. So we'll get there. That is in Connecticut.
Okay, great. Do check it out and avail the
Yes.
opportunity to meet him in person and
Yes.
attend those wonderful LTP programs that he conducts free of cost.
I posted the links in the chat window.
Wonderful. And also please fill out feedback. Arun, please go ahead. Arun, I think we
Yeah,
can
thank you for waiting. Arunji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. I mean, it was not something very, just had a small clarification. So on the slide where you were showing about Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, the Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, I was only having a doubt about one aspect there. So usually it is said that Vishnu Bhagavan is actually in Sattva and Brahma is in Rajas because he is the one in the mode of passion who creates, right? So I saw it the other way around in the slide. So I just wanted to clarify if my understanding was correct.
I'll double check it if that is the case.
Okay.
Typically, Vishnu, because he's action oriented, right? Yeah, Brahmaji is also action oriented. He's creating there. I'll check it out if there is a mix up there. Thank you for
Sure,
pointing.
sir, yeah, just had that. And the other thing, one small comment I had was in general about the creation of Shiva. As per the Bhagavatam, it states that he was born between the eyebrows of Brahma. So I don't know if that forms a hierarchy, but yeah, in general, that's the story behind Shiva's
Okay,
creation.
eyebrows of Brahma. Okay. No, yeah, we'll put that different stories for different, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll try to fit it in hierarchy so that that missing link also comes there.
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing it out.
No problem. I just wanted to share. Yeah.
Thank you, Arun. Very nice.
Thank you.
Aparnaji,
Aparnaji, yeah.
Arunji, I see a new hand today. Yes,
Radhe Radhe, Nitinji and everyone. I just needed a clarification. Maybe it's my misunderstanding. I'm confused between the avatars and the deities. They are the deities, the avatars, or are they different? I mean, I know we pray different gods for different things, like Ganesh ji for wisdom, Lakshmi ji for wealth and all that, but that's how we have been taught. So even I have all the deities in my, in my personal mandir at home. But there has to be a reason, right? Why do we worship Ganesh when we begin anything, any puja or any festival? We ourselves do it, but then we say that there is only one form of God, which is Krishna. So I'm just confused.
No, those deities, we do that, like when we invoke blessings of Lord Ganesha when we embark on something new, right? Vakratunda Mahakaya,
Surya Koti
Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. We do that for Gam Ganapataya Namaha. So we do that. There are different forms of God. So deities are nothing but the forms of God that we put it as an idol in our altar, right? So Ganesha is also a form of God. Panchamahashakti is there, right? So you can worship that. That is a way I'm saying that you could choose Ganesha as your Ishtadev as well. But with an understanding, it's not different than Krishna as such. So when you water the root, right? Let's say you are doing Krishna, you've already taken care of all the other mantras, right? You have already invoked auspiciousness and remove my obstacles on the way. All that is already taken care of. Now you're watering the root itself, right? With that understanding, when you do, you don't have to recite separate mantras for separate gods for doing that, right? If you do one Ishtadev, you are filling basically satiating every form of God. That is the real understanding. It's not that for Saraswati you have to go separately, with Vishnu you have to go separately, and then this God for this. That understanding has to be corrected. That's all it is. And that is why it said have one Ishtadev that will help you deepen your devotion for more, as opposed to multi-branching it in your head.
Okay, and also I had a question about what is the difference between demigods and then
Okay, so now we are getting into technical question that we had covered. Demigods are not gods. They are just posts. You and I can become a demigod without God realization. They are material. They are still in material world. Like, right? We have Varun Dev, Agni Dev and all that. They are called demigods. It is just a post. Any soul can get that post and they are also in the material world. They don't have an ability to take you to God or beyond Maya. They can only give you boons. Okay, and you and I can become that as well, and then they have to vacate that post after the tenure is over. So worshipping demigod is, I mean, it's a lower level of devotion that doesn't take you beyond Maya. So you worship God, you water the root. Don't think about watering the leaves and other twigs and other things. The demigods are not gods. They are material.
Demigods are executors.
Rather,
Thank you, Nitinji.
Demigods are executors.
they are executors, yeah. They execute through God's energy, right?
Yeah.
Very true. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Tarunji.
Tarunji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead. Thank you for waiting.
Segment. Sandhya has
So, Radhe Radhe, Nitinji. My question, which I usually get from others while trying to get them into the spirituality, is that yes, we have heard the story in books and all that God has taken incarnation multiple times. But what about the current time? We know we have read the Kalki Avatar, but no one knows when it is going to happen. So if something happens currently, then I think more and more people will realize mostly what they see and what they direct experience. Indirect experience means we as we have read the Bhagavad Gita or we have been reading, yes, we are getting, but many people or most of the people are not getting into that. So my question is how to help them.
Couple of questions you're asking. If God were to, when God takes avatar, have everybody become God realized in his avatar call? You and I have seen God also. Still, we haven't become God realized, right? So God, when he takes an avatar, his job is not to, his purpose is not to impress people by showing magic and stuff like that and making them impressed by his qualities. That's not his purpose. He showed his cosmic form to Duryodhan. He said, you know, what kind of a Harry Potter kind of a guy he is. He did not believe it. You and I have also seen God. And in this age also, God has manifested multiple times. Okay, you won't know that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's actually an avatar of Radha and with the soul of Radha basically, to experience the Virah Bhava of Radha. So God does descend as saints from time to time. Even in this Kalki avatar is going to happen towards the end, which is probably close to the annihilation of Kali Yuga itself. But even otherwise, God keeps on manifesting. We don't have eyes to understand. Saints are what God realizes. Avatari Purusha Shankaracharya was a God's avatar. Ramanujacharya was a God's avatar. Madhvacharya was a God avatar. Hitvansh. So many avatars have happened. The Patanjali was a Shesh avatar. So God's avatar is happening as we speak. Who says that it's not happening? We don't have the eyes to know that. Right? So, and Kalki avatar, the dramatic avatar that we want to see God in, that will happen in due course. Our welfare is not to be at that time when Kalki avatar happens. That means if we are there, we'll be in trouble. It's better to get out of this material world and not wait for Kalki avatar to be born around that time. But God's avatar are happening as we speak. You might have met God multiple times. So for us to realize the presence of God or a godly, saintly personality, we have to work on ourselves, become good. And only when we are good will we have an ability to make, somebody else make an impact or influence somebody else as well. We start worrying about others without working on ourselves, and that becomes a tragedy of our life. Even in aeroplane, they say, right, put on an oxygen mask before you try to help others. So first we need to focus on and then in due course of time, if God has to take a seva through us for somebody else's welfare, it will happen. We don't have to worry about it. But good question, Tarunji. Thank you for asking that. All right, are we good for the devotional segment? I can see the singing faces already.
Yes.
So you're going to sing, Dyashini is going to sing, Payalji is going to sing, and Monica ji
Ajit ji is also going to sing.
Ajit ji, are you going to sing or you had a question? Or Lakshmi is going to sing as well. Okay, Ajit ji, are you going to sing or there's a question you asked?
Oh, I think Ajit ji didn't want to.
If you wanted to ask something real quick, we can do that, Ajit ji. The idea was not to.
Yeah.
Not
Please
to
go
put
ahead.
you on a spot. To
Yeah, Radhe. Actually, Nitin ji, I have a proposal for you. When you are coming to India, you have got lot of knowledge. Actually, in India, we used to give importance when something comes back from the Western country. So Gita returns like that. You can have a subject, and you can have a some session arranged by Shamji in Delhi, Gurgaon. So you will become popular like anything. Reason behind that, you have taken this topic that regarding the God clarifications. Nobody dares to discuss this sort of topic in media. not only media, in the religion meetings as well. So
I think
hats off to you for having such a grand knowledge, vast knowledge, in-depth knowledge of Gita ji. And I have a proposal that why don't you have some sessions here in physical form as well? Radhe Radhe.
Gee, that's very so sweet of you. Couple of things here. First of all, none of it is my knowledge. Okay, I'm simply narrating like a parrot what Swamiji has written or whatever little I've understood from Maharaj's discourses. Okay, first of all, that knowledge bank is coming from them. Secondly, I get some privilege during this 1 hour, okay, because I'm doing this seva for Maharajji. So he puts in some thoughts and right words in my mouth, which makes me seem as if I'm very knowledgeable. If you'll meet me in person, in reality, you'll say, I am terribly disappointed. Who is this guy? Okay, and then I'll come on national TV for all the wrong reasons. If I try to take a topic on this, discussion on this topic, but this whole knowledge, which is so simplified, and the reason I'm able to make so much of
Nitin ji, it's
conviction,
all your humbleness.
no, fact.
It's all your humbleness. But we used to see a lot of progress in you, definitely.
If you're seeing progress, that is a good sign. That means Guru is gracing me and the seva is going well. So that is very heartening to know, to be honest. But I'm telling you, I'm just a postman. Okay, the knowledge, the powerhouse is somewhere else, which is giving all the stuff, and I am able to articulate it in this 1 hour very effectively, which I can see that, okay, for most of the times at least. It's all because of God and Guru's grace. But yeah, I would love to meet you in person, and we can certainly have a good chat about it, but it will not be as effective as it is during this 1 hour, I'm telling you, because this 1 hour I get some special privileges. May not be the case when we meet in.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you so much. Okay, so do we have everybody who's going to sing now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Monica ji, you have not even raised hand, but I know you're going to sing 8. So let's go one by one. Go for it. Let's start with Dasoham ji. I think Dasoham ji, I want to see you in Gogs, and please go ahead what you're going to recite today.
Dasoham ji, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
राधा तू ही सीता तू ही काली तू ही दुर्गे माँ तू ही राधा तू ही सीता तू ही
I think some audio.
Yeah, can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you. May have to join back in, Ramesh ji. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Ashutosh, you want to sing as well?
Radhe Radhe.
Yes, Radhe Radhe. Yeah, just 2 lines. ओहो दीन कब आई है अहो हरि ओहो दीन कब आई है अहो हरि गावत गुण गोपाल निरंतर गावत गुण गोपाल निरंतर मन भृंगी बनी जई है अहो हरि मन भृंगी बनी जई है अहो हरि ओहो दीन कब आई है अहो हरि Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Very nice, beautiful bhajan. All right, Lakshmi ji, want to go next?
Radhe Radhe. Lakshmi ji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe, everyone. This I want to sing on that Mother's Day, but there was a net issue. I couldn't raise my hand. Please bear with me for a few minutes. राधे राधे जपा करो, कृष्ण नाम रस पिया करो। राधे राधे जपा करो, कृष्ण नाम रस पिया करो। राधे राधे जपा करो, कृष्ण नाम रस पिया करो। राधे देगी तुमको शक्ति, मिलेगी तुमको कृष्ण की भक्ति। राधे देगी तुमको शक्ति, मिलेगी तुमको कृष्ण की भक्ति। राधे कृपा दृष्टि बरसाया करो, राधे राधे जपा करो। राधे राधे जपा करो, कृष्ण नाम रस पिया करो। राधा रानी है महारानी, महिमा उसकी सब जग जानी। राधा रानी है महारानी, महिमा उनकी सब जग जानी। राधे चरणों में प्रीति किया करो, राधे राधे जपा करो। राधे राधे जपा करो, कृष्ण नाम रस पिया करो। बोली बाली सीधी सादी, वो है सबसे न्यारी न्यारी। बोली बाली सीधी सादी, वो है सबसे न्यारी न्यारी। राधे चरणों में शीश झुकाया करो, राधे राधे जपा करो। राधे राधे जपा करो, कृष्ण नाम रस पिया करो। राधे राधे जपा करो, कृष्ण नाम रस पिया करो। राधे राधे। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Lakshmi ji. Very nice. Your enthusiasm.
Radhe Radhe.
So good and so good to hear from you. I think you should sing in satsangs also. Do you go to the Hyderabad satsang these days? No?
Hello.
Yes. Are you able to go to satsangs?
Yeah. No, I'm not finding time, but I'm when I get time, I'm going through the bhajan. So whichever like I am liking it, I'm just going through that and learning it.
All right. Very nice. Thank you so much for reciting it with so much of enthusiasm. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Ooh, we have 3 more hands to go. Sandhya, you want to go next?
Yes,
Dayashini
Sandhya
and
ji.
Payalji, and
Radhe
maybe
Radhe. Yeah,
couple of
please.
my lines I will do if I get time. So yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Lakshmi ji's bhajan was so sweet, and especially the intermittent Radhe was so cute, the way she was saying it. Thank you.
Right,
Okay. And the bhajan that I want to sing today is what like I learned, I think was the first bhajan I started singing as a child. So it's a very simple, sweet child like bhajan, but it just suits today's discussion, so I'll just sing it. कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चले आना, प्रभु जी चले आना। कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चले आना, प्रभु जी चले आना। तुम राम रूप में आना, तुम राम रूप में आना। सीता साथ लेके धनुष हाथ लेके चले आना, प्रभु जी चले आना। कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चले आना, प्रभु जी चले आना। तुम श्याम रूप में आना, तुम श्याम रूप में आना। राधा साथ लेके मुरली हाथ लेके चले आना, प्रभु जी चले आना। कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चली आना प्रभु जी चली आना। तुम शिव के रूप में आना, तुम शिव के रूप में आना। गौरा साथ लेके डमरू हाथ लेके चली आना प्रभु जी चली आना। कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना। तुम विष्णु रूप में आना, तुम विष्णु रूप में आना। लक्ष्मी साथ लेके चक्र हाथ लेके चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना। कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना। तुम गणपति रूप में आना, तुम गणपति रूप में आना। रिद्धि साथ लेके सिद्धि साथ लेके चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना। कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के चले आना प्रभु जी चले आना।
Beautiful, Sandhya. Very nice. Very relevant to the topic we discussed, right? This bhajan pretty much encapsulated what we have been talking about. Loved it. Beautiful singing and very devotional and apt bhajan for the discussion also that we had today. So next is Dayashini and then Payalji. Are you ready? Monica ji, Payalji, please be ready. Dayashini, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Dayasini ji, please.
Sandhya, you have inspired me to sing something similar, okay? Ram and Krishna bhajan. A couple of lines when I have time. I was
Radhe
thinking-
Radhe.
Yes, Radhe
Yes,
Radhe.
I just I want to sing, but also before that, can I just ask one question, and you can just ask answer in one or two lines.
Sure, you'll ask one question and I'll answer in one or two lines. Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, when I imagine God like Krishna, Shiv, or any God like Ram, so and even like Guru, so the feminine power comes in mind more. And specifically with Krishna, what happens is that my when I imagine Krishna, I can't imagine without the feminine power that is Radharani, and I automatically serve Radharani by teasing Krishna. So my question here is that when I imagine Guru, I imagine Swamiji, Maharajji, as well as Ammaji. I haven't heard much about Ammaji, so is it all right? That's my question.
That should be perfectly okay. You should personally ask Swamiji this question as well. I don't see any problem with that at all. See, the whole idea of doing your sadhana is to take your mind to divine, right? And when you talk about sages, saints, it's perfectly okay. If your mind goes naturally there, even better, I would say. But speak to Swamiji, take some guidance from him as well. And when you talk about Shakti and Shaktiman, you are able to visualize them together. That's even better. Maharajji specifically said that Yugal Sarkar, if you can see them in front of you, even better. So you are already in divine realm in that sense. But if there is any very specific guidance you need, you should be asking Swamiji about that. He'll be able to guide you better on this. But whatever you have told me, I certainly don't see any issue with that at all.
Okay. Okay, so now I'm ready to present the bhajan.
We are also
Maharajji's
ready to
bhajan.
hear your presentation.
Okay. So this is Maharajji's bhajan, Matwari Pyari Chal, Mero Yashoda Kyo Lal. मतवारी प्यारी चाल मेरो यशोदा कुलाल, मतवारी प्यारी चाल मेरो यशोदा कुलाल, जाके लोचन रसोल मेरो यशोदा कुलाल, जाके लोचन रसाल मेरो यशोदा को लाल जाके नीले नीले गाल मेरो, यशोदा के लाल मतवारी प्यारी चाल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल जाके घूंघर वाली बाल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल जाके घूंघर वाले बाल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल जाके होठ लाल लाल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल जाके होठ लाल लाल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल मतवारी प्यारी चाल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल। मैं तो हो गई माला माल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल मैं तो हो गई माला माल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल। प्यारो प्यारो नंद लाल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल। प्यारो प्यारो नंद लाल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल। मातु पितु पति लाल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल। मेरो साँचो यार गोपाल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल। मतवारी प्यारी चाल मेरो, यशोदा को लाल। थैंक यू। राधे राधे।
Wow, wow, Diyashini, wow. You know, the pace at which you have picked up Maharajji's bhajans, I think you started only a few months back. I can't imagine. You seem like a veteran with your lay, tal, and bha. It's pretty amazing. See, these are some of the most beautiful compositions by Maharajji. Right? It's like somebody has written these leelas, watching that happening live. And you know, you having that ability to pick it up and sing it, definitely there's a lot of grace factor in it. So keep it up, Diyashini. I think Swamiji told you in SMX you should do more of Maharajji's bhajan. Did I hear that somewhere? But yeah, very nicely sung. I think he told you should sing more of Maharajji's bhajan. It's very, very nice. Good job, Diyashini. All right, we have Payalji and then Monica ji is ready as well. So Payalji, yours, and then Monica ji will take her as well.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Payalji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, thank you so much. छवि लगी मन श्याम की जब से, भई बावरी मैं तो तब से, बांधी प्रेम की डोर मोहन से, नाता तोड़ा मैंने जग से। ये कैसी पागल प्रीत ये दुनिया क्या जाने, ये कैसी पागल प्रीत ये दुनिया क्या जाने। मेरी लगी श्याम संग प्रीत ये दुनिया क्या जाने, मेरी लगी श्याम संग प्रीत ये दुनिया क्या जाने। मुझे मिल गया मन का मीत ये दुनिया क्या जाने। मोहन की सुंदर सूरतिया मन में बस गई मोहनी मूर्तिया, जब से ओढ़ी शाम चुंदरिया, लोग कहे मैं तो हुई बावरिया। मैंने छोड़ी जग की रीत, ये दुनिया क्या जाने। मेरी लगी शाम संग प्रीत, ये दुनिया क्या जाने। मेरी लगी शाम संग प्रीत, ये दुनिया क्या जाने। मुझे मिल गया मन का मीत, ये दुनिया क्या जाने। Thank you so much, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, very nice, loved it. That's another Meera's bhajan, Payalji.
I'm not sure, Nitinji, but I got this on YouTube. I loved it, so I just thought of rehearsing, practicing, and present it over here. Yeah.
Please keep tuning into YouTube, listening, and bringing it to our sessions. Okay. Very nice. Loved it. Okay.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Payalji. Monica ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Monica ji, all yours.
Radhe Radhe. Please let me know if I'm still wearing my Bluetooth, so please let me know in case if you're not able to hear me. Okay. एक राधा एक मीरा, दोनों ने जा।
The voice is trailing off.
Thank
See,
you. Before I could.
Pitch will go high. Your will not cooperate, and we don't want to have transmission loss here, okay? Because you are singing it really intensely. So get into.
Am I audible now?
Yes,
Yes.
you're on.
Thank you. Before I got into bhav, पहले बता दिया. Okay. एक राधा एक मीरा, दोनों ने शाम को चाहा। अंतर क्या दोनों की चाह में बोलो, अंतर क्या दोनों की चाह में बोलो। एक प्रेम दीवानी, एक दरस दीवानी, एक प्रेम दीवानी, एक दरस दीवानी। राधा संग प्रभु रास रचाए, मीरा केवल स्वप्न सजाए। राधा फिर बिरहा में तड़पती, विष पीवत मीरा भक्ति में हंसती। एक चाहे संग रहना, एक पाए भक्ति का गहना। जग सुमरे दोनों की प्रीत को देखो, जग सुमरे दोनों की प्रीत को देखो। एक प्रेम दीवानी, एक दरस दीवानी, एक राधे श्यामा, एक मीरा का कान्हा। मीरा के प्रभु गिरधर नागर, राधा के मन मोहन। राधा नित श्रृंगार करे और मीरा बन गई जोगन। एक रानी एक दासी, दोनों हरि प्रेम की प्यासी। अंतर क्या दोनों की प्रीत में बोलो, अंतर क्या दोनों की प्रीत में बोलो। एक जीत न मानी, एक हार न मानी, एक राधे श्यामा,
एक मीरा का गाना. राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe Monica ji, very nice, wonderful, and you were able to finish it, right? Without the Bluetooth, can you believe it? So very nice. And see, you all sing so well. It's unplugged without any instruments or anything. I wish we can get together and do it in live instruments, how impactful it would be, but such beautiful, soulful singing from each one of you. Just loved it. I know it's very late for Pallavi ji, so Manisha ji wanted to say something, or you wanted to sing something? I will skip today, so it's Manisha ji. I think you guys were like so much that. If Manisha ji wanted to do that as well?
Yeah, Radhe Radhe, Manisha ji, please go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to sing. I didn't practice. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. जब से नैन मिले गिरधर से अकल गई बोरा, देख मैं तुझको हुआ बावरा, बिन देखे मुझ चैन नाय, प्यास तरस की आंखों में चौखट पे रात बिताऊं, रोज मिलन होता है स्वप्न में, कैसी सबको बताऊं, तू मेरे प्यारे बांके बिहारी, बस तेरे ही गुण गाऊं, मेरा रोम रोम तेरा नाम जपे के मैं कृष्णमयी हो जाऊं, कृष्ण की दीवानी राधा लगा प्रेम का रो, छोड़ के सब तेरा नाम रटू मैं, मिलने की है वो, कृष्णमय हो जाऊं कान्हा इस संसार में, अकल गई पौराई कान्हा तोरे प्यार में, पीले पीले वस्त्र तेरे पाँव में पैजनिया, मोर मुकुट साजे बड़ी निकला के अखियां, बांसुरी कमर पर बांधे श्याम रंग लाल का, चोरी चोरी माखन खाए मारो गोपाल हाँ, ओ मेरे मन में बसने वाले मेरे प्यारे कृष्ण कन्हैया, उनका भी बेड़ा पार करो जिनकी है डूब गई नैया, मेरे प्यारे बांके बिहारी, बस तेरे ही गुण गाऊं, मेरा रोम रोम तेरा नाम जपे के मैं कृष्णमयी हो जाऊं, मैं पागल जग की रीत में अपना भला समझ ना पाई, तेरे प्रेम में सब कुछ वार दिया, अब तुम ना करना पराई, सौभाग्य हूँ जो तेरी भक्त बनी, तेरी कृपा की दृष्टि है पाई, तुम हर क्षण मेरे साथ रहे, कैसी भी विपदा हो आई, चरणों से मुझको लगा लो ओ प्यारे नंद के लाला, इस जीवन का उद्धार करो कृष्णा ओ गोपाला, मेरे प्यारे बाके बिहारी, बस तेरे ही गुण गाऊं, मेरा रोम रोम तेरा नाम सुने के मैं कृष्णमयी हो जाऊं, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम रामा हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे, राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe, Manisha ji. It runs in the family, I can see that. DNA. So you came in casually, I'm going to try, and then you hit 6 out of the park. Amazing. Loved it. Very nice devotional segment today, and it's a good segue before we take a little bit of a break. But like I said, we will resume on Monday morning. And then maybe one more break during the week. I'll let you know in advance. But yeah.
You were also saying you promised.
You guys sang so well that I
Like,
have to preserve that taste now. Okay.
without it won't be complete, the devotional segment.
Let's give. No, I think I think we had such wonderful bhajans. Why do you want to dilute it now? So
It will not get diluted, I can assure you that.
what I was thinking to sing, and then okay, let me think about it. Okay, I said Ram and Krishna, right? Okay, so let me do that couple of lines, and then we will give Pallavi a break. I know Pallavi, it's late for you.
Yeah, please sing, Nitinji, on everyone's demand.
Okay, real quick, I'll do that then. रघुराज कहें यदुराज कहें तुम रूप अनूप दिखाते हो रघुराज कहें यदुराज कहें तुम रूप अनूप दिखाते हो कभी धनुष बाण धरि आते हो कभी वंशी मधुर बजाते हो जय जय राम 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 जय जय श्याम 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 जय जय राम 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 जय जय श्याम श्याम श्याम. All right, I'll not prolong it. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for your enthusiastic participation and beautiful, beautiful, soulful renditions from each one of you. And Manisha ji, you are the surprise package for sure. Payal ji, Deyashiri, Sandhya, Monica ji, Lakshmi ji, you are amazing, all of you today. So thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you. Have a wonderful weekend and rest of your week. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Coordinates will change, but sessions will stay. Okay. So we will continue on
Radhe Radhe, thank you.
chapter 4 onwards. Radhe Radhe, good night.
Yeah, thank you, Nitinji. Thank you, everyone. Stay blessed. See you all next week.
See you all next week. Bye.
Radhe Radhe.